We'll start the car up. I'll drop the handbrake, and if you are happy to go, if you pull the right pedal towards you, it'll put us into first, and it is all clear to the left. So if you are ready, there we go, perfect. So light screen, we're all good to go. Heading on out, and we can it's fine, it'll cancel itself out, and it is all clear to join. So over to the left, and then have a little feel of the brake pedal, easing in, good, nice and tight, a little bit of power into the middle. Turning in, we'll stay to the left here. There is a car that will go by. There we go. Well, there's another one after this that will go through. Just easing it in. Perfect, and back on the power. Thank you very much. This just gives you a bit of space. You don't have to worry about what they're doing. Perfect. So we'll keep heading down the straight. We're aiming up towards the end of the curb. We can keep going, lovely, and then on the brakes, down 2 gears. There we go, easing off, turning in. There we go, in nice and tight, just squeezing on the power now to the left, and up a gear, and down we go. Over to the right hand side, and then on the brakes, down 2 gears. There we go, tucking in nice and tight into the middle, a little bit of power, and in now, over to the left, just squeezing on, keeping it out wide, and then easing it in, good, squeezing on the power, and then we go up, there we go, keeping it left, and a little brake down a gear, turning in off the brakes, a little bit of power through, over to the left, there we go, turning in, keep squeezing on the power, keep going, and on the power, holding it left, and braking down a gear, good, getting it in, a bit tight, there we go, that's alright, everybody does that at least once, straight over and to the left. A little brake, easing in, off the brakes, bit of power out now to the left, and down the straight we go. Good. Keep going. And here we go, down one more gear, keeping it left, easing off, and starting to get it in. Good, a little bit tighter, bit of power, looking for your exit, straight down the hill, up, good, and then on the brakes, down 2, a bit harder, and in off, there we go, a little bit of power, and in, squeezing on all the way out to the left, up a gear, easing it in, all the way out, and full power down the straight. And on the brakes, down a gear, turning in, off the brakes, a little bit of power through, all the way to the left. There we go. And turning in, good, squeezing back on the power, good. And then hard brake, down a gear, bit harder, harder, easing off and in. There we go. And turning in, we're going straight over and to the left. And a little brake, good, easing in off. A little bit of power out, and full power down the straight. Keep going, looking for the end of the curb. And on the brakes. Good. Down 2. Easing off the brakes and getting it in. Good. Nice and tight. Squeezing on out now. Down the hill. There we go. And on the brakes, down 2. A bit harder. Good. And off the brakes. And back on the power. Holding it out. And then easing it in. Good. And full power down the straight. In, easing off the brakes, let it run out wide. Good. Back on the power, easing it in, squeezing all the power, keep going, out of the brakes hard, and in, off the brakes, a little bit of power into the middle,
the apex,
and it gets straight over and to the left. Good. Brake, easing in, and then on the power out. Good. Keep going. We're looking for the end of the curb. Going, keep going, and on the brakes. Down 2. Easing off. Good. And in. And then we'll stay to the right hand side to come into the pits this lap. Over on the side there. There we go. Perfect. How was that?
Well, I messed up the apex a couple of times on a couple of corners, but I'm not feeling the brakes very well.
I was just saying, I think a couple of times there you might have caught the throttle a tiny bit, because it didn't sound like the revs fully dropped. Yeah. So what we'll do in the next run, when I get you in, I'll just double check. I'll make sure that when your foot moves, we're not quite catching it, because I couldn't quite see from here.
Yeah.
There was into village and into the chicane there. There was twice where it sounded like the revs were up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I managed to shift down when I should have done it second gear. So.
That's fine. It happens sometimes. So if we just loop in alongside Aston Martin number 2 for me, please. Oh. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. I'll go and feel this. There we go.
Turn it off.
That.
Turn it off?
Yeah, if you could turn it off for me, please. Good. There we go. Enjoy that?
Yes.
Yeah, got a bit of sweat on,
Yes.
got the heart rate up?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Lovely. So the door handle is just that bit there. Pull that up. There we go. Perfect. It needs fuel. I'll go fuel it now, but it's on there. Yeah, you try to handle a cup of tea. So I'll just go put a bit of fuel in this. Make sure that we can do the next one. And I'll come and check to see when you're ready to go around. Okay. Some fresh air.
Yes.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to go up watch there if you want.
Okay, so how long have we got? 10 minutes or 15?
Normally I have 2 people driving, so it's about 20 minutes.
Oh, right. Do I need to set the camera?
We can leave it in there if you want, because nobody else will go in it. Yeah. Perfect. Then we can start to gradually build up our momentum, keeping it out to the right, and it looks nice and quiet again. So yeah, over to the left. And perfect, getting it in, waiting, want to get nice and tight into the middle.
Too early in apex.
Yeah. On the path, over, good. And then a little brake easing in, off the brakes, bit of power out to the left, and power down the straight. tighter, and a little bit of power out now. Good, down the hill we go. Good. And nice hard brake, down 2. And then, yeah, there we go, we had a bit of throttle on there.
Oh, right.
All the way out to the left. Good. Keeping it out, easing it in. We could go past on the right hand side, so full power, and we'll go past them on the straight. And a little brake. Good, easing in, off the brakes, back on the power. Out to the left. Good. And turning in. Good, keep adding on, keep going. And on the power. And a hard brake. Down again. There we go. And in. Into the middle and squeezing on. Turning in. Over to the left. And on the brakes. Good, easing in. Off the brakes. And a bit of power out all the way to the left. And down 2. Holding it out and easing it in. Good. A little bit tighter. Looking for the exit, squeezing out towards it and down the hill. Around hard brake, harder, harder. Off the brakes, there we go. A little bit of power and in. All the way out to the left, squeezing on. Good. And easing it in. All the way out to up again. Brakes down a gear, easing off, turning in, squeezing back on, up a gear, you're turning in, keep going, and braking, down a gear, and in, waiting, waiting, and a bit of power now, into the middle, turning in, over to the left, and a little brake, easing it in off the brakes, bit of power now, all the way out to the left. And we'll just stay behind this one for this corner. Down 2 gears. There we go, and then a little bit of power through. Nice and tight, and then power down, and on the brakes hard, a bit harder, there we go, and in now tight, good, a little bit of throttle and in, squeezing on out all the way to the left, good, easing it in, and squeezing on up again. And squeezing on through, turning in, back on the power, keep going, over to the left, and on the brakes, good, waiting, in tight, 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 waiting, and then on the power, turning in, over to the left, on the brakes, easing in, off, straightening up, squeezing on the power, and down the straight we go. There is a car that's going to come past us, so on the brakes, slowly we'll let them come through, holding it out, easing in, and then back on the power, and we'll stay to the right to come into the pits this lap. There we go, just in here. There we go, how was that?